I'm not from here, but I've lived in this community for more than 35 years. I've worked for both cities. I've lived mostly in Bryan, and my wife and son and I have spent a whole lot of time in a variety of Bryan parks. So we are big fans of the Bryan Park system. And I'm also a big fan of today's guest. Welcome to Brazos Matters. I'm Jay Sokol. I get to visit today with Ashley Bennett, Recreation Manager for Bryan Parks and Recreation. Ashley, welcome to Brazos Matters.
Hey there, thanks for having me.
Of course. So we worked together at the City of Bryan for like 6 or 7 years, I think.
Something like that.
But I left there 16 years ago. So I want your favorite memory of the Sokol years. Go.
Oh, good gravy. Probably the video collection that we used to do, or that y'all used to do, what was that, Bryan Beat? Or no, not Bryan Beat.
Bryan and Inside Look.
Yes, that one. Absolutely loved them.
That was a little bit off the rails.
Oh, it was great. And the calendars were pretty fun too. But
Yeah, we did some very uncity-like stuff. Those were fun days.
they were fun days.
I liked working with you.
Same.
So, okay, I want you to first explain the areas of Bryan's Parks and Recreation Department that you are in charge of.
Well, a certain person who I'm sitting here speaking with today branded me the Queen of Fun.
That was
And
you?
Yes, that was me. So that's exactly what I do. I'm the recreation manager, so anything recreation fun, which includes athletics, aquatics, youth programs, adult programs, senior programs, special events, the marketing of our department. Anything fun you see out there, it's under my area.
That's a lot.
It can be.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I've worked for both cities, and they are very different. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. They are just different.
Absolutely.
The parks departments are different. So College Station Parks and Recreation has, from what I can tell, 68 employees and a budget of almost $11.5 million. Bryan Parks and Recreation has 25 employees and a budget of about 6.2. This
Correct.
is at least out of the general fund.
Yes.
Now, my opinion is that Bryan Parks and Rec has a history of kind of punching above its weight, considering staffing and funding. But you guys have very high quality parks and very lean, targeted programs. That's how I see it. Well, how do you see it?
I would say the same way. It's about being effective and doing the best with what you have and what's available to you. So I think we make a lot out of what's available to us, and I think our parks crew and our parks are some of the best you'll find. And so we do the best and try to provide what we can.
Yeah. So you've worked for Bryan Parks and Rec for nearly 22 years, I think.
That's correct.
So I would love to know what you think are the most impactful changes to the park system and the recreation offerings that we can see, and also the most impactful changes that you see, but maybe we don't.
Well, we've been through a lot here lately with directors changing and all of that. But I will say some of the things that we've done better is we've created some more youth programs. And, some people may think we don't offer enough, but the programs that we do offer take a lot of planning and a lot of work. And so in my time frame, that's one of the things I realized when I came on is, I had a toddler and realized there was not a whole lot for toddlers. So I started our Pee Wee Sports program, which has since morphed into the Start Smart program.
Yeah.
And so there's that. And then we also didn't have a full day camp that was provided. So that's where Camp Hero came into being.
Tell me about Camp Hero.
Camp Hero is a all summer long weekly program that is offered for kids ages 5 to 12. Starts at 7:30 in the morning, ends at actually now it's 7 to 6 p.m. And they get to go swimming twice a week. They go on a field trip once a week. They have guest speakers come in. They have all kinds of games and activities. And our biggest thing that I am the most proud of, you bring them to us a little sleepy, we send them home very sleepy.
That's nice. This is for any 5 to 12-year-old?
Any 5 to 12. You do not have to be a citizen of Bryan. You
Okay.
can, we've got folks that drive in and work here from Hearn and Caldwell and whatnot that put their kids in the program. You can be a College Station resident too. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, that's probably one of my programs I will say I'm probably the most proud of. Is it's grown. It started with, maybe 25 kids, and we can have 250 to 300 kids in the program now.
Oh, wow.
And that's a lot.
What is the cost for that?
It's $100 a week, which is very inexpensive in this town.
And how many weeks did you say?
It can go for the whole summer, give or take. It can be anywhere from 9 weeks to 11 weeks, depending what Bryan ISD school schedule is.
Okay. That's a neat program.
Yeah.
You talked about the Pee Wee sports that has turned into Start Smart, because your son and my son are about the same age.
That's correct.
And I remember Grant, I think, being an early participant
He was.
in the soccer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And we used to have, the Where's Waldo in our activity guides. It
Yep.
was always Where's Grant Sokol.
Yeah. Well, hey, when you're in the communications office and you need photos,
Absolutely.
you can put your son in stuff.
It was the best.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And nobody liked that more than Grant.
Oh, I know. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Well, hang on. Speaking of Grant Sokol,
Yes.
do you remember Medium Sized Cold?
Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so that was another a video edition of Bryan and Inside Look, and we did a cool feature about it was the family camp out out at
Austin's Colony
Park. Yeah, which was terrific, and it chronicled the Sokol family, at least one of the subplots, on a treasure hunt, I think. And we did not do great, but Grant was leading the way, and he gave us a little assessment of the weather.
Yes.
And it was medium-sized cold.
That's correct.
It's one of the favorite things I remember from that. He's still a medium-sized cold guy.
That's awesome.
See, people get to hear us reminisce.
Yeah.
Now, you talked to me about the most impactful changes, though, that you see, the changes to the Parks and Rec system that maybe we don't know about.
Well, it's our Parks Improvement Plan, to be honest with you. We annually request and get funded for funds to help us continue to improve our parks, go back and replace old broken items. So we just put new picnic tables and barbecue grills and lights and trash cans in 25 of our parks. And people don't necessarily realize how much those things cost,
Right.
and how labor intensive it is and how hard it is to plan putting all those in and keep them up. And since we've been getting this program and doing this plan, we've been able to really make a difference in what our parks look like.
Yeah. How forward-looking is that? How many years into the future do you look at for that sort of thing?
We are continuously planning. We've got it. Our plan currently is through, oh, good gravy, I can't remember how long it is. It's maybe a 5-year plan, and then
Okay.
we keep renewing it.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we do an annual assessment of where we stand on it, and we'll determine by need, which is safety, appearance, those types of standards, on what needs to go to the top of the list.
Yeah.
And we recognize that our picnic tables and trash cans and the barbecue grills, they were just all not in the best of shape.
Well, they're
and potentially
heavy use items.
they are heavy use items,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so that's something that Parks Improvement Plan has come around relatively new. It's a new kind of thing. I'd say it's been in the works for about 8 years or so, potentially. But we're really starting to see it rev up, and you can tell a difference.
Okay. So according to the city's budget book, Bryan Parks and Rec operates 53 public parks, a golf course,
Yes.
2 athletic complexes, a recreation center, 3 pools, an amphitheater. Where's the amphitheater?
That's a good. Oh, is that at Haswell? I believe that's at Haswell.
Because
I think.
I couldn't remember that. And 3 cemeteries. So I imagine there are amenities or services that are popular for a period of time or a generation or two, but like everything else, things change. So the idea of putting something in a park and allowing it to stay forever, no matter the usage, that might not be how you guys operate. So I'm curious, what is the philosophy and approach for you guys?
Well, we determine need. We do an annual assessment of how much our pavilions are being used. We keep track of, what is happening in our neighborhoods. Our parks guys are out there looking at things. So there's times that we will look at something and go, is that playground truly needed here? Or would it be better if we put it over here? So for instance, we've got several of our parks that are on different sides of the street, or any of those, and which side is more used heavily, what would be better here than there.
Something like a Tanglewood Park.
Yes, Tanglewood.
Okay.
You've got your playgrounds and stuff on one side, and on the other side it's open field with the splash pad and a connecting trail. So we look at those. We also look at the use of, like for instance, at Austin's Colony, the old inline skating rink, we turned that into a permanent pickleball facility because, as everybody knows, pickleball's where it's at. Are you a pickleball player?
Well, I'm not yet.
Okay.
My wife has tried this. She's got a group of friends who are peer pressuring her into getting into it more. So I'm tempted. I'm tempted to give it a try.
Yeah, so we look at those things as, is it being used for what it was intended? Is there something better we can do with it?
Right.
And so it was determined the need for pickleball in an outside courts. There's 4 courts there, and they are heavily used.
Okay, so I was going to ask you about pickleball
Okay.
in a few minutes, but I'm scooching that up on the list here. So is the City of Bryan, is Bryan Parks and Recreation kind of ready to double down on it because it is increasingly popular, but I know at least in some other cities across the country, there's also an increasing amount of complaints due to the noise created by pickleball. So, what's the Bryan Parks and Recreation approach so far, at least, to pickleball?
Well, we've added, at Neal Recreation Center, we actually painted lines, permanent lines on the basketball court there.
Okay.
So that way that's available. But I would say my goal is to add more in different locations and looking at, tennis courts that aren't being used or slabs that are already in there that we can modify and create. So we are on the pickleball bandwagon.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of determining where's the best location.
Are you seeing any trend of tennis courts being used less for tennis?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're seeing, the larger tennis courts, like at Rayburn Intermediate and at Jane Long Intermediate. Those stay pretty full with tennis and whatnot. But a lot of the neighborhood parks, we've got people asking for pickleball courts there because that's what they want.
Yeah. Okay. So you're listening to them.
Yes.
All right. So if you just tuned in, I'm Jay Sokol. You're listening to Brazos Matters, and my guest is Ashley Bennett, Recreation Manager for Bryan Parks and Recreation. So getting back to some of our earlier conversation about maybe seeing habits or demand change. How much, and we talked about tennis courts, but talk about habits that you're observing related to pools or trails or where this demand, aside from pickleball, what are people wanting and what are people kind of leaving behind?
Well, the interesting thing is when COVID hit, it really took a toll on us being able to offer a lot of programs.
Yeah.
And we found the need for more outdoor space type activities, whether it's, well, a lot of it was for people to be able to do by themselves or with a small group or any of those things. So that's one of the big reasons pickleball came into effect. Disc golf is another thing that it's come back. It kind of was popular there for a while, took a small dip, but it is back in action. Matter of fact, we're about to complete an 18-hole course pretty soon.
Where's that going to be?
It's at Park Hudson Trail and Tiffany Park. It goes along the trail and into Tiffany Park.
Now, wasn't there a time when, not just you guys, but when disc golf courses were being removed?
They were. We had a park. So your thing that you were talking about with pickleball, the complaints of noise and those types of things came to it, for other parks. So we had to be very careful in looking at where we put this and make sure it's not right around houses or any of that nature, and just, be careful with placement and really assess, is this the right location?
How about pools? You guys operate 3 pools.
We have the Bryan Aquatic Center, which is our year-round.
Right.
We like to say it's heated because it is by the sun, but then we kick the heater on as soon as the sun no longer gives us the warmth we need.
Okay.
And then we have 2 seasonal pools, Henderson Harbor, which is at Henderson Park, and Sadie Thomas, which is at Sadie Thomas Park.
The popularity and usage of those pools.
Bryan Aquatic Center is heavily used by lap swimmers and by swim teams, and we've got our water aerobics. And then during the summer, it kicks up with our recreation users because we've got 2 big slides there that are a lot of fun.
Sure.
And then during the summer, we're starting to see more use at Sadie Thomas, which is great. It's a great pool, great for families.
Yeah.
And we try to do different types of programs there. And then Henderson Harbor is really fun too because there's a slide there as well. And it's a big, people like to do their birthday parties at that location.
So I know for at least my time working with you at the City of Bryan, you guys were really churning through a ton of kids through swim lessons.
Yes.
And in fact, I think you had an endeavor to try to teach like every 2nd grader or 3rd grader
We
how
did.
to swim. Are you still seeing those kinds of numbers of kids who want to learn how to swim?
We're still seeing numbers. I believe it was over 2,000 that we had go through swim lessons this year. And so that's a pretty good number.
Yeah.
But the plan is to try to find a way to get back to those 2nd graders. The problem is finding the transportation to get them to our location.
I see.
And the other thing why that kind of stopped for a little bit is the water got way too cold because we had it at Henderson Harbor.
Okay.
And so the mom and me came out and said, these babies are freezing. And I am too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we do what we can. We try to get into the schools for water safety and talk about those things and just really push. If it's not swim lessons through us, please go get swim lessons because that's a life-saving skill.
Yeah, so I was wondering, is there a generation that's sort of slipping through the cracks in terms of learning how to swim? I just didn't know if the families were prioritizing it, if you were seeing them still coming to you for that sort of service.
We do. We're seeing it, and we continue to push it.
Okay, that's good to hear. Now, are you finding that Gen Z and Gen Alpha, we've got a Gen Alpha now, right?
Do we now?
So yes, so
Yay,
Gen
one
Z,
more.
Gen Z's 95 through 2009. That's your son and my son.
That's correct.
And then Gen Alpha, those folks were born after 2010. Okay. Are you finding that they are not spending as much time in parks and outdoors as their parents and grandparents? And if that's right, what can you guys do? What's your profession doing to persuade them to get outdoors and into your spaces?
We are finding that, and unfortunately, part of it is because of cell phones and technology and all of those fun things. I start to date myself now when I start talking about stuff like that. But we've got some plans. We're looking at starting a teen camp that can help get kids outside, and that age group will be 13 through 15, and focus on that. And then of course, we hire kids that are 16 and up. But if someone knows the magic answer of how to do that, love to have that answer. But we continue to go, and matter of fact, we've got a conference we're about to go to, and there's some topics specifically on that. And then we're constantly trying to look for ways.
Yeah, what are your peers talking about? What are you focused on right now? Aside from building more pickleball courts, like what are the challenges and the pursuits right now of your profession?
A lot of it is just getting people out and being active. I know that sounds weird because I just talked about when going outside and during the COVID time and whatnot. But we also found that people they got really used to being kind of by themselves and stuff. So we're starting to see some activity, like with our senior dance. But so speaking of the senior population, and I don't always like to use the word seniors because to me it's active adults. Yeah. That's who we're focused on. 55 plus. And I'm soon to be getting in that age range.
That is getting very personal.
I know, exactly. But it's, what can we do to get people, have them meet each other, create new friendships, get them out, let's go do fun things. Our senior dance is a big one. That's so much fun. We'll have it again in March. And that's been about 350 people come.
Oh, wow.
And it's a blast. And they keep asking for more. So it's that population that's asking for more programming. They really want to do trips and those fun things. And so we're looking, and I've put a big focus on that with our department this year. Teens is a big one. And then just, continuing to find those events or activities that don't require a lot of time. Families can be spread very thin when their kids are involved in so many different things, but they still want to come together and do something as a family. So finding something that they can do that doesn't take a whole lot of time and can create memories. And that's what I say, we're memory creators. That's who we are.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you've touched on a little bit of this throughout. I know you have new amenities at a bunch of parks. You talked about some of the equipment replacement and so forth. You have adult and youth sports. You've got aquatics. You have some special events coming up. You want to kind of run through some of this and give me a sampling of some of the big things we need to know?
Okay. Well, I'll start with some of our parks.
Okay.
We've got new playgrounds at 6 of our parks, which a lot of people don't realize how much those cost. And how long it takes to put them in.
Okay, give me an idea. How much does an average playground?
You can be anywhere from small to 150 upwards to 300,000 plus.
Wow.
So and then that's just the unit that doesn't go with all the other things that sometimes can go into it.
Okay.
Which is the playground surfacing. We have to consider fall zones and all those types of things.
Right.
So it's fun. But so Shirewood Park, Austin's Colony Park, Henderson Park, Part B, Castle Heights, Ibarra Park, and Greenbrier all got new playgrounds. And they're so fun, and it's so exciting to see those things.
Yeah.
So that just shows our dedication to just continuing to improve our parks. And that's part of that parks improvement plan that we have.
All right.
And then as far as activities we've got, so the special events, we'll talk that first. In October, we partner with Bryan Viking Theater and do a trunk or treat so kids can eat program. That's October 21st. And entrance is 5 canned goods, and all of those go to the Brazos Valley Food Bank.
Oh, that's great.
So it's something, bring your kids out, do some trunk or treating, have play games, activities. We'll have food trucks out there, and then just know you're giving back to the community by being there.
Sure.
And then, of course, it's our Holiday Magic.
That is a great event.
Well, this one's going to even be better because we're making some changes.
Oh, okay, tell me about it.
Upgrades.
Okay.
So excited.
All right.
So we've had our snow hill, and we'll continue to have our snow hill, but it's going to look different this year.
Okay.
We're moving locations. We're kind of moving a lot of locations of things. We'll not have just one snow hill. We're going to have 2. One snow hill that's for, is it 42 inches and above?
Okay.
And then one that's 42 inches and below. So little kids can now go down their own little kids snow hill.
This is still at Haswell Park.
Still at Haswell
Okay.
Park. The location, yes, I know there's construction, but we've got a plan.
Sure.
We're really going to push using our charter, the buses, park over at Blinn, drive over so you don't have to worry about trying to find a spot. There's plenty of space over there.
Great plan.
And we'll bring you over. And those buses run continuously. We've also we've added 30 minutes to the program. So it starts at 5:30, goes to 9, because we want to give people as much opportunity as possible to have fun with the new amenities that we're bringing in.
Excellent.
So, yeah. And so that's the Thursday after Thanksgiving every single year. When people ask me when is Holiday Magic, the Thursday after Thanksgiving. So November 30th this year, 5:30 to 9 p.m. at Sue Haswell Park. We're going to have a movie out there because I have a brand new movie screen. That's, 16 feet by 9 foot.
That's a good sized screen.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You can see it daytime or nighttime, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Good for you.
Santa will have a new location and a whole new look. We've got more games and activities than we've had before. We have all of our entertainment scheduled right now. All entertainment is scheduled, which I know you know.
People, you don't know that that's a big deal, but that's a big deal.
So that's taken care of. We're already getting all our door prizes together and everything. So yeah, that's going to be exciting this year.
That's pretty terrific.
It's awesome.
Any other events you want to plug real quick? 'Cause we got a couple
Babysitters
minutes left.
course. So if your kid goes to Bryan ISD, or even if they don't, we have babysitter courses that are going to be going on that week that the kids are out for their fall break in October. So be sure to check out our website and look at those, and you can register online.
That's excellent. Okay, here's a little trite little question for you, and you've been asked this 100 times. The old TV show Parks and Rec, real? No? How much do you love it?
I would say some of it's not, but unfortunately some of it is.
Yeah?
Now, our director is nothing like Ron Swanson.
Okay.
So he's actually
new director.
available. New director, Brad Stafford.
Yeah.
And glad to have him. He is actually, he doesn't sit in a round desk, doesn't try to get away from everybody, doesn't, he wants us to come and talk to him, which is fantastic. I have been said that I can times it be Leslie.
Oh, you're Leslie Knope.
Well, I'm the binder queen, so.
You are.
Yes, I am. But no, it's pretty funny how some of it can be very accurate, and others you're like, well, I don't know quite so much.
Huh. Okay, final question for you. Got about a minute left. Your favorite park, and why?
Ooh, my favorite park. That's a hard question. I got several. Depends on what you want. I love Bonham Park, and it's because it's just so open and green, and it's just so pretty. I think when springtime comes, Bonham Park's just an awesome park. That trail is enjoyable to walk.
Yeah.
Austin's Colony is another amazing one because you kind of forget you're in the city because it's tucked back.
True. That's true.
And so that's another favorite one. Oh, heavens.
You've only got 53 to choose from.
I know, it's so hard. We've got some new ones that have come on that are really awesome. But those are kind of my two go-tos.
Okay, I'll take those two. I will take those two. Ashley Bennett, thank you so much for the talk.
Absolutely.
Brazos Matters is a production of Aggieland's Public Radio, 90.9 KAMU FM, a member of Texas A&M University's Division of Marketing and Communications. Our show is engineered and edited by Program Director Matt Dittman. You can learn more about us by visiting kamu.tamu.edu/radio. Visit the Brazos Matters archives for all of our interviews. I'm Jay Sokol. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you have a great day.